Nice one, Chris. That starts the evening off well with just generally wrecking the place. Was that one of the real glasses?
Yeah.
Oh, God, that's going
Keep your voice down, she'll hear you.
to be the second bloody accident report form we're going to fill in today, then. I won't tell you what the other one was. Right, anyway, welcome to Chris's leaving do. After many, many years of being here. Now, I'm not going to say a lot, because let's face it, Chris, you can do more talking than all of us put together.
14 pages we're up to at the moment. Won't be long.
I wasn't going to say apart from Mary, but never mind. So, what can I say? Chris, you are an absolute legend.
Legend?
And I was trying to remember earlier on how long I've actually known you. Because you started in around about 1993, wasn't it? Oh.
Yes.
That's what.
Research pays, everybody.
All right, you started in 1993. I know that from my research because I asked you during the week.
Yeah.
So, which means I've known you for some considerable time. In the old days, of course, I used to work at St Matt's, but I'd come down here and find out what went on in this weird and wonderful place called Bower Ashton, and there was Chris. And
nobody else.
And I suppose the thing is, I mean, Chris has been pretty special because we've got a very similar background in many respects. We both come from the sort of technical servicing industry, and so we could sit in a little darkened room together and reminisce over Thorn 3.5s and Philips G8s, G11s, all that sort of stuff. And now you're going, what is he talking about?
Yeah, so is everybody else.
Yes.
Valves?
What? Valves. The G8. There you go. But the best thing about knowing Napes, of course, is his sense of humour. And I think his sense of humour on campus is absolutely legendary. And he has he has the ability to pretty much converse with anyone and everyone at length and make everyone laugh to the extent where you have adults like us reduced to laughing like a bunch of school children, quite often in the refectory, making lots of noise and annoying everyone. But I've noticed that as the years have progressed, you got a bit older, mate. heading towards grumpy old git,
Got there yet, then?
and let's face it, there is a few of us who are heading towards that grumpy old git stage. Sorry, Roger, I didn't mean to look at you then. But even with the grumpy old gitness stuff setting in, I've noticed that through social media and your normal interactions with people, that your musings on life are definitely amusing. They are politically astute, very current, and anybody who follows Chris on Facebook or social media will certainly know about a lot of these. I'm not going to mention work much, other than you've been involved in a number of training videos over the year, haven't you? Over the years.
Excuse my back.
So I thought we'd look at one. For those people who have not seen one of Chris's...
Found you.
For people who have not seen one of Chris's training videos,
Oh, God.
Yeah, let's have a look at something, shall we?
Hello, my little chums.
This is copyright.
Thank you so much for all the feedback that you all sent me after my last training video. It was very helpful. And all the people that were very rude to me... sorry. There you go. Now, a lot of people said that it was very dark when I did the filming. This is a very good question, and thank you for bringing it up. And it's something that we need to feature here on the training session so that we get it right in future. Now, if you're doing a video and you find that the lighting isn't very good, use a light, like I'm going to do now.
Well, Prince told me that.
Cheerio now.
Classic. Right. I can't resist. I'm going to show another one.
Not the Clevedon one, it goes on too long. Do you want a chair?
Hello, my little chums. Here's a little problem that I've had today, and I've got a solution for you. If you've got one of these, roll of sellotape, and you can't find the bloody end, like I can't, here's a little trick I learned on the internet. Get some of this, WD-40, good old WD-40, and give it a bit of a spray, like this. And make sure the room is ventilated, boys and girls. And this will make it a lot easier for you to find the end on your sellotape, like this. If that doesn't work, try the next trick that I found on the internet. Cheerio now.
There are loads more. If you Google him on YouTube, you will find them. Absolutely superb. Right, as I said, I wasn't going to say too much today, but really just to wish Chris the very best for the future. Absolutely glad you've recovered significantly from your recent ailments and stuff.
I have.
You have. And yeah, it's been interesting to note that you've got the little... oh, here it is. I'm not going to try it out, but I have to say, this is the fastest we've ever seen you. Now, I noticed that you had a little bit of a problem with your leg, and bits fell off it. and you've told us at great length how it's managed to grow back. So from nothing, there are things that are growing again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
not everything.
What's next on the agenda then?
Not everything. No.
Right, and a little bit earlier on, Chris said, oh, what do I do about my pass and my keys? Okay, look, there's no hurry over it, hand your pass in when you're ready, hand your keys in when you're ready, I'm not going to panic about it. He says, oh, I've got all the keys ready to go. Oh, brilliant, okay, when do you want to give them to me? Oh, I'll give them to you now. Okay, brilliant, yeah, they're all in one place, excellent, right, what's that place then? They're all in there. Right, where's the key for that then? No, oh, bloody dear. Cheers, mate. Can I have the hammer that goes with it?
Yeah, and a big drill.
Right, okay. Fantastic, Chris. Brilliant to know you. Hope you absolutely stay in touch with all of us. You've been an absolute source of amusement and a lot of inspiration. I consider you an absolute mate. Fantastic. So thanks very much, Chris. And I'm going to hand over to Steve.
Yeah, all right.
Friend,
Well, I'm here.
yeah, there you go.
Well done, Chris. You haven't a clue, have you?
Not got a clue.
It's my fault that Chris is actually working here. Sorry, love him or hate him. Many years ago, as Dick aspired to earlier, we met probably 1989, something like that. Chris was a DJ on GWR as it was then, or yeah. And I was doing some freelance work there, and we met up there, and sort of became chums on a sort of weekend basis, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And we met when you were doing your show. And there was a guy called Magnus Carter who was the head of news. Remember him? Unfortunately, yeah, he can't be here today. But he was doing some work at St Matt's on the new journalism course, the broadcast journalism diploma, wasn't it? BJ.
Yeah.
See? Yeah, something like that. No, I can't remember. And he said, "Oh yeah, I'm doing some work at them, but they need somebody technical up there. Steve, would you be interested to help out there?" So I went up there to do a bit of freelance work. Obviously, still keeping in contact with Chris over the years. I ended up staying at St Matt's, where I met Dick. Obviously, he was working there at the time. Mr. Dick Allen over in the corner. And then a year or so later, year and a half later, they decided they were going to move that course down to this site and start up a brand new media centre facility on the Barrashton site over in D Block, which was originally, strangely enough, a fabrication centre, which is what it's come back to now. They've knocked down D Block and they built a fabrication centre. So the woodwork and metalwork shops were in where our media centre studios were, if some of you remember them. And the broadcast journalism course came down here and they started up the media course, and that's where I met Gary Stadden, who some of you know. Just give us a little wave, Gary, in case you don't know. He was working here already on was it the graphics course? But they did animation, a little bit of animation and a little bit of film recording and editing. So Gary was the technical instructor for all of that at the time. So of course, that's where I got to know Gary, and we become good chums from day one, really, didn't we? We hit it off really well. The media centre, after about 3 years, we then had 3 years of intake of students because it was a brand new course, so it was getting a bit busy, and I needed some help, really, on some of the instruction and some of the... you go in already?
Oh, yeah, that's quick. Oh.
He did pay full price, didn't he? He'll be back, believe and I was talking to Chris about it and said, "Oh, yeah, there's a job going up there. Are you interested?" "Oh, bloody hell, yeah," he said. Because I think you just finished working at the radio then, didn't you? And from that, obviously, where's Malcolm? Malcolm Brammer, sorry, his wife Steph was the media centre manager at that time. And yeah, sorry, Malcolm, we couldn't see you at the back there. And we interviewed you, Steph and myself, and stupidly we gave him the job. And he's been here ever since, just like me. But it was because of me, so I do apologise. You know, if Chris has upset you sometime over the last 23 years, then that's my fault. But as Dick was saying, everybody loves Chris. He's always there for a bit of a laugh and a joke, aren't you? And you like to make people smile, one way or another. We and obviously Chris and I were working in the same office for over 20 years, or the 3 offices that we had during that time.
Have you read my script? There's nothing left of it there.
So, in all that time, I mean, it's like we mentioned it once, didn't we? It's like having a house husband or something,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah. Your work wife or work husband. I won't say who was who. But we only ever, I think, we had 2 arguments in all that time, didn't we?
They were good and so.
They were brilliant.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Bloody great.
One of them, I can remember, wasn't really an argument, but I did punch him, didn't I? There was, I don't know if it, did any of you watch the programme Friends, you know, from years ago, the American comedy? There was one point in there where I think it was Joey decided that this bubble wrap, a great big bubble wrap, would be great to wrap round his head, and if his friend Chandler punched him, it wouldn't hurt. I think it was the scenario. And I was mentioning it to Chris one day, and he said, oh, yeah, we just happened to have a delivery of stuff with some bubble wrap in. So guess what we did? We wrapped it around Chris's head, and he goes, "Go on, go on." He said, "Go on, hit me." I said, "No, don't." So I won't hit him this time, but he's got this bubble wrap all around him. There's big bubbles in behind him. So he's got, "Go on, hit me." I said, "Oh, it's all like that." He said, "No, go on, hit me." So he goes, "No, really hit me." He's gone down on the floor, screaming his face off. "You bugger," he said. I mean, I thought it was funny. Gary nearly wet his pants because he comes and come in the room, but he thinks it's funny anyway. Yeah. But this is the daft things Chris will do or ask people to do. I don't think he really thinks it through all the way to the end. But maybe that's why we all love him. And you know, he does do some funny things without really thinking about it. The other one, I mentioned this to you earlier, Chris, but when he first started here, as I say, many years ago, we had our first Easter break, and as most of you know, we have a few days off over Easter. I get a phone call from Chris, just after Easter itself. And he says, hello, Steve. He was on the phone. He said, hello, Steve. All right. I said, yeah, all right, Chris. He said, so where are you then? I said, well, my home. He said, really? He said, well, you're all right. I said, yeah, I'm fine. I said, where are you? He said, well, I'm at work. I said, oh, work? What are you doing there? He said, well, I'm just ringing you up to find out whether you were coming in or not. It's sort of 9:40 or so. I just wondered if you're taking the day off or something. I said, no. I said, it's Tuesday. I said, we get an extra day over the Easter holiday break. Bit of silence. Oh, bugger, he says. Yeah. He said, I thought it was quiet in the car park. He said, there's only me and the porters here. He said, I wonder where everybody went. Oh, bloody, he said, I just driven through all the traffic. He said, oh, what am I going to do now? He said, I said, well, I'd go home if I were you. That was when I realised that maybe Chris wasn't always on the same page as everybody else. And over the years, there's been lots of little incidences like that, which have been comical for the rest of us, and poor old Chris has taken the brunt of it. But he takes it all in good jest. I mean, we can laugh about it now. We've had loads of stories over the last few days, haven't we, talking about things in the past, and other members of staff which aren't here or can't make it today, and funny stories about them. But I think the best thing is that yesterday, as you know, getting near the end now, and he's leaving us today, so we're sorry to see you go, but the poor lad's got that little chair there, that little motorised vehicle, which he's been zooming up and down the corridor. He goes into his office, and what does he do yesterday? He comes out of the office, opens the door with the electric button, and then goes through, and the door whacks him with a leg. He's now hurt his leg again. He's got to go to a hospital at some stage to have more checkups. It's all swelling up, isn't it, mate? He was telling me the day before yesterday...
How do you know?
You were talking about your leg, weren't you? Yeah. And he said, I can't wait to get rid of this chair all next week. I should be all right, be walking around. He's obviously going to be in that for a little bit longer now. But the poor guy, due to some diabetes, he has had a few problems over the last year. So I've got another 5 minutes to do it. Yeah. There's only one page left of his script, so it's okay. You cut it down a bit. It's been a shame that you've had to go into the hospital and in and out, on and off for the last nearly a year now, isn't it? Yeah. They've obviously told him to do this, do that. I mean, they probed every part of his body this last year. There's not much of him left. I mean, the poor guy even had needles in his eyeballs. But he did say he was going to try and lose a bit of weight, which he's done, which was great, but then I thought he went a bit too far when he decided that the doctors could cut a piece out of the bottom of his foot. So that was due to some skin going a bit off, wasn't it?
Yeah, all right.
He's got pictures. He'll even show you some pictures, if you like, of all that. Don't look at them before tea. But I hope that, in all seriousness, I hope you do get fully 100% recovered, Chris. You deserve your retirement. Chris and Liz over there by the window, his wife. I'm not going to say long-suffering wife, Liz, but you put up with a lot. I know. He tells me all about it. I hope both of you, because you retired on Monday, didn't you? Yeah. What a coincidence, eh? How did you work that out, Chris? Well done. So both of them are now retired. Actually, it's gone 5 o'clock, isn't it? Yeah, you've retired now. That's all right. So drinks are on you. Where's Doreen and those drinks? I'll get some more. Chris, from me and obviously from everybody else, thank you for being a good friend, a good colleague, and for being there when we just needed sort of brightening up on a day. So thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Napier.
I'm not going to get a go at this. This is fun.
You'll get going in a minute when you're told.
Yeah. You probably don't work here anymore. Shut your face.
Probably hit me without the microphone, I think. Can you all hear me?
No.
Okay, I'll be very brief. I think I don't want to necessarily introduce a serious note, because, but I think it is time sometimes to really thank people who have dedicated a lot of their lives to one place. And I think we forget when we're in these gatherings with everybody together that there are many, many more people who will be remembering Chris and what he's given to them as a student or as a member of staff here. And I think that's something I do a lot of these brief talks, I suppose, as people leave, and I suppose one day someone will do that when I leave. It's that sense that we're not just looking now, we're looking back 25 years, 23 years. Sorry to exaggerate.
Oh, no.
I think it's really important just to thank Chris very much for all that dedication. And along with the humour, along with all the smiles, I know whenever I come down here, it's my spiritual home, but I'm not here very often, am I? And whenever I come here, Chris has always, when I've bumped into him and I had a chat, he's always had something funny to say. I've always left with a smile. And I think it's really important to say that that's something that we all appreciate, but I know that many appreciate all the other dedicated work that we've given over the last 23 years. So
Thank you.
could I say thank you very much to Chris, and raise a glass, I forgot my glass, I'll get it over there, and say cheers, thank you very much, Chris.
Right, we'll take a minute. So, Mary, can I ask Mary to just pop over here, grab the microphone? Thank you.
Oh yeah, sorry mate. Yeah, sorry.
Hello. You'll be delighted to know I'm not going to speak too much. I don't think it would be fair on everyone else, because I'm Irish, so it's an unfair advantage. I really am just here representing a very broad range of people that are really going to miss Chris. Chris is a ray of sunshine in all of our lives. Sometimes we don't want that ray of sunshine, but he's there anyway. We have two interdisciplinary multimedia presentations. And to introduce the first one, I'm going to introduce that briefly. It's very short, and then I'll speak a tiny bit about the second one, and Dick will play the second one. There are a number of us in a very elite group in this room. So quite a few of us, you may be aware, were taught by Chris as students. So give a whoop if Chris taught you as a student. And speaking on behalf of all the people whom Chris taught as a student, we would like to thank you for your humour, for your silliness, and for your genuine warmth and sincerity. And for the rude jokes.
No more.
Yeah. Just my one memory of Chris from being a student is the very first workshop we had was Adobe Audition. It was a group of international master's students with 2 UK and 1 Irish person. And Chris just kept drawing our attention back to a tool that he'd just discovered in Adobe Audition. Anybody guess what that tool was? Anyone? Begins with an F?
Flange!
Flange. And with...
Flange!
Easy, Tiger. With the straightest of faces, he kept referring back to the flange tool. With a group of international animators who were studying, it was their first week, and me. Needless to remark, I was creasing myself. And my second memory from that is Chris putting his hand on my shoulder, saying, I'm not going to cry, and saying, you and me are going to get on, because I couldn't stop laughing. Every time he said flange, it totally floored me. So that's gone on for, I'm here 15 years now. So on behalf of the students, we put together a small presentation. It's really nice to see so many young faces in the room, and some really freaking old ones as well. Really old. So what we thought we'd do is there's a small group of students, fresh-faced young students who have a band, and they put together a very, very small little tribute. Chris, you probably won't know most of these guys, but they've worked really hard on it. They're a little bit shy, so a really big round of applause while we're queuing it up. So everybody, 1, 2, 3. ones to watch in the future, I feel. If any of you get the chance to watch that again, look at their little faces. I cried. The second is an interdisciplinary multimedia production. Try not to be intimidated, those of you who are also creative practitioners. The technology is second to none. But this is from the faculty. So a lot of people that couldn't make it tonight. We're here, most of us tonight, representing media animation. You've been an honorary animation graduate, practically. You've done so many silly voiceovers for so many animations that we feel you're one of ours. But in the last couple of days, I've realised you belong to every single team. And this is just from everybody.
Sit down and shut up. That looks like you.
So now that we've destroyed him emotionally, I'm going to pass over to Nibs.
Bloody hell, wasn't expecting that lot. Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. Ladies and gentlemen, make the most of it. Don't get much better than that, going downhill from here. Today is a sad day in the history of Bella Ashton, and it will be talked about in the same breath as the day a squirrel got shot in the trader's kitchen on a Tuesday, and the traditional Friday pasta bake that week had a strange, nutty, furry taste to it. The day a member of staff got taken to hospital by ambulance with twisted testicles, I kid you not. And the member of staff who put the entry into the accident book had to write down a quote from the person who was affected, and she wrote down, "Me bollocks hurt." Yeah. And the day we were all told, "Make no mistake, you will be moving." By Joe, we're still here. Right, parish notices first. There will be some adult language in this speech. We've had some already. They didn't apologise, so I don't think I'll bother. Save some drink in your glass. There will be a toast at the end of this performance. And with immediate effect, the following job opportunities have become available in the media centre. Is it called the media centre now? I've been away for so long. No, who knows? Secret Santa organiser. Office heating liaison officer. Will it work this winter or not? And official office door opener. Applications and a full CV and a £5 note to Dick Allen, please, after these performances. So, yeah, one door opens and another 12 open. I've done quite a few of these leaving speeches. The reason I'm reading this is not because I've got a bad memory, because I have. It's just that in the last 2 or 3 days, there have been so many rewrites, so many things that I've forgotten to do. I had to put them in at the last minute. I've got a dreadful memory. So I've done a few of these over the last few years. Gary Stabben left, and he didn't come back. Bob Prince left, and he didn't come back. John Brennan... Where is he? John Brennan left, and then he did come back. People were asking for a refund on the collection, you know that, don't you? Which I thought was a bit out of order for the Dean. He stopped the cheque. So thanks, John. So now it's my turn to leave. Sorry, no refunds. I've got some history for you now. Did you know that this site is actually haunted? Oh, he did? Oh, well, I won't have to worry about that one then. I've worked with some great people over the last 23 years. Some of them are here today, some of them aren't, and some of them weren't great. I won't be able to mention everybody today because there's a lot of people out there, and if I did, we'd be here till Christmas. So I have left a few people out. I didn't want to, but it does mean that I know an awful lot of people here. I know funny stories about them, which is worrying because they probably know equally as many funny stories about me, as you've just heard. So let's get started on the dirt. My first dean, and I've seen a few of them come and go, Paul van der Lem. Yeah, let's hear it for Paul. I did invite him actually, but he didn't get back to me email. Never mind. He's probably out training the Dutch bog snorkeling team for the Olympics because he used to do a lot of that. Paul was a great dean. He taught me how to swear in 10 different languages. And he told me that if I wanted to upset a North Korean, you'd take the mick out of their genitals. Something that Mr. Trump should be aware of, I believe. Paul Gough was next, another good dean. I had a dream about Paul Gough. I dreamt I was going to Whitchurch, God knows why. But I put my hand out for the bus, and the bus stopped, and Paul Gough was driving the bus. Not only was Paul Gough driving the bus, but he had his paintings in the little cab behind him. So I said, "Oh, hello, are you going to Whitchurch?" He said, "Yes, I am." Shut the door and drove off. But the thing is, I emailed him the next day and told him the dream, and his reply to me was, "Ding ding, any more fares please, move down the bus." Not the sort of thing you'd expect from a dean. It got a bit iffy after Paul Gough for a while. When it comes to deans, we've got just a little bit. Then we've got Jane Roscoe. Is Jane in tonight? No? Oh, that's a wasted opportunity then, isn't it? But she's doing a great job now at the Sharp End, so let's hope it continues. Other members of management that I'd like to mention, Roger Conlon. Hello, Roger. We had a big do at Friendshare a few years ago, and Roger was doing one of the keynote speeches, and he came to chat to us plebs on the media centre table, and we had a chat, and I said, "Roger, if you can get the word albatross into your speech, I will donate." Was it a £5 or a tenner?
I think he said 10, but only gave me 5.
Taxi for Conlon. Anyway, the speech started and he was about 3/4 of the way through. Oh, he's forgotten. Then all of a sudden he started talking about wild birds in this speech and he actually worked in the word albatross. So I paid up some of the money, if not all of it. I'm sure it was a tenner. Should have got a receipt. But we've got a similar arrangement today. Roger is going to donate £5 to the charity of my choice if I get the word bollocks into my speech. It should be pretty easy, Roger. Should be pretty easy. Thank you, Roger, and thank you for your kind words earlier, by the way. Checks in the post. John Brennan. Good evening. John gave us a team bonding session a couple of years ago, and it was a two-parter. I couldn't make the first part, but I heard that John put this massive spreadsheet up on the overhead projector, and it was so big that all the typing in the things had to be very small so that you get it all in. But nobody could see what was on the spreadsheet. They could see on the top desk, you know, the John Brennan, the bride's mother, and the best maid. They all could see it, but we couldn't. So I heard about it. So the next part was then 2 days later. And true enough, I was at that one. True enough, the spreadsheet came up, and I whipped out a massive pair of binoculars out of my bag. But the trouble was, I couldn't see the look on John's face because I hadn't bothered to take the little rubber caps off the lenses. So I don't know if you got upset about it. If you were upset, I do apologise. No? Oh, fair enough. Then I meant every word of it then. Media Centre management started with Steph Brammer. When I first came here, Auntie Steph was in charge. Was that me? Yeah. Well, it wouldn't be anybody else. Malcolm's here this evening, and thank you, Malcolm, wherever you are, for coming in tonight. Steph couldn't make it. She's not feeling too good. She sent me a lovely text, which I've just got rid of.
Typical you.
Which I'd like to read to you if I can get it. Hi, Chris. Sorry I can't make it tonight. Got a phone call late yesterday to offer me a cancelled appointment at the BRI, and she's having a little bit of treatment done. Know the feeling, Steph. Okay, so I wish you all the best. Fond memories of all the members of the Media Centre and the many laughs we had all those years ago. So thank you, Malcolm, and thanks, Steph, for me tonight. Then, like the Deans, after Steph, it went a bit iffy. He's not here, is he? The one and only Mr. Ian Costello. He can't be with us today because he wasn't invited. He had this annoying habit, he had quite a few actually. He sounded like Mick Jagger, and over the years, all the members of the Media Centre did a pretty fair impression of Mr. Ian Costello. Gentlemen. There is it's one of these things. Which story do I tell you about Ian? I've settled on one. There was going to be a meeting early Monday morning, and Ian hadn't turned up, and we were getting a bit concerned. And my phone went. Why the bloody hell it was my phone? I'll never know. And it was Ian, and he said, "I'll do the voice." He said, "Oh, I won't be in today, Nate." So I said, "Oh, why is that?" And he said, "I went out for a little drinky last night." Oh, right, okay. And he said, "I was walking home and I fell over in the gutter and I got a rusty nail in my arse." Can't write it really, but anyway, that's Ian. And then we moved on to Dick Allen. Oh, bollocks. Another refugee from St Matt's. Dick Allen likes to lead from the front and the rear. Those of you who have attended a staff meeting with Dick or have had a visit from him after dinner will know exactly what I mean. And thank you for your kind words as well, yeah. Mention about Traders' Canteen. Thank you. Napoleon said that an army marches on its stomach. Well, he hadn't eaten a Bar Aston Traders, had he? Here are some of the highlights that this student eatery has in the past offered its clientele. A malongi of vegetables. I had to Google it. A pot of juice. What? This is a student eatery. This isn't some poncy thing in London. And then we had paninis on the menu. And in the first week of introduction of paninis, they had a poster on the front, and it said, "This week, panini filling of the week, cheese." And of course, there is the small point of a small price increase of 20 pence to use a paper cup, and they still won't tell me where the bloody 20p's going. Oh, in the pocket. In your pocket? Oh, that's fair enough. Steph's getting all the 20p's. Thank you, Steph. Through thick and thin, our culinary creatives... I'm reading this because it only wrote it today. Through thick and thin, our culinary creatives, Doreen, Joe, Steph, Nikki and the rest of the gang no longer take any notice of my helpful comments. Such as, morning Dor, got anything edible on the menu today? And of course the all-time favourite, how much? On to my media centre chums. David Neal, our very own cycle warrior, who's also an accomplished guitar player as well. A few years ago, when he was living in his bachelor pad in London, he was playing in his flat and there was a knock on the door. Turned out on the door, it was a piano tuner. And Dave said, I don't remember ordering a guitar tuner. I don't remember ordering a guitar tuner. He said, no, you didn't. It's your neighbours that done that. Is Rod in today? No. He couldn't make it. Oh, that's a shame. Eh? I was going to anyway. He's the best ex-ITV cameraman I know. Come to think of it, he's the only ex-ITV cameraman that I know. He's a keen local rugby supporter and also flies off twice a week for skiing. He's getting on a bit now for skiing, so he's moved up to skateboarding and snowboarding. And apparently snowboarding is an activity that is very popular with people who do not feel that regular skiing is lethal enough. So he'll be off again in January. Oh. My pages are stuck together.
Oh, I've heard that before.
Yeah. Michaeli! Where is he? Oh, I thought you had escaped as well for a minute then. Michaeli is one of the 2 people they got in to do the job that I used to do on my own. He's been awarded the Freemasons Award for arriving to work with one trouser leg rolled up. But normally they just turn the hem up. Not him, he's up to the knee bone and possibly higher than that as well. So we get a good leg show every day, which is why Katie gets in every morning. Speaking of Katie, another St Matt's refugee. You probably don't know this, but Katie is a qualified masseuse and a qualified paddleboard instructor. She gets to wear kinky rubber wetsuits. Sadly, I'm informed that the wetsuit is for the paddleboarding stuff. Now, I used to think that the skin-tight rubber wetsuit is a sexy garment until I heard that Nick McLeod had bought one. Mark Barton!
Thank you.
Where's he hiding? Oh my God. He's...
Camera.
Hello, Mark.
Hello.
Yet another refugee from St Matt's is our Mark Barton. The conversations that I've had with this Greek Adonis. It's a shame that I can't remember any of them today, or even repeat any of them today. Come to that any other damn day, really. He's very good at eBay and collects shite.
Thank you.
Bex! Rebecca Goff. Yeah, what's your job? No, I wasn't being funny, I just don't know. What's he called this week? Oh, well, anyway, don't matter. She's the only lady I know that's got a shed. Bex has got a shed that would put any man to shame. It is a proper wooden log shed. The worrying thing is that inside the shed she's got a proper wood log burner, which can be a bit risky if it goes into full tilt, so be careful of that one. It does certainly sound a bit iffy. So that's Bex. I'm working around the tables now, by the way. Who's next? Gary McIntyre. Is Gary in? Hello Gary, our new boy. Gary is the second person that they got in to do the job that I used to do on my own. I don't bear a grudge, obviously. Okay? He's also a brilliant cook and frequently brings in loads of cake to feed his chums, which is great because I'm diabetic. But he did bring me some sweets with a special diabetic sweetener in called sorbitol. And if you Google sorbitol, you will know that it gives you the squits. And I can vouch for that, Gary. It bloody did. Thanks for that very much. Nick McLeod. Where's Nick? Nick McLeod. He is the Chewbacca of the media centre. I only learnt that today. Yeah. Do you know they call you Chewbacca, don't you? Did you know that? Well, they do now anyway. That is the Barton. Nick is also an eBay addict. and currently holds a record for the longest time that somebody's worked on our hire desk. So let's do it for Nick. The previous record owner was Tony Orr, but he's a git, so we don't count. Is Tony here tonight? And here he is, Mary Murphy. Hey, she's our animation bod. She's been working with commercially available modelling clay for so long now, she's acquired the coveted nickname of Plasticine Knickers. That's modified. And then, of course, that just leaves my dear friend Steve Haggerty. I do apologise if I've lost loads of people out, but there's too many people here to mention everybody. But Steve, as he said earlier, like he said a lot of things earlier, he got me the bloody job in the first place. Git. I shared a workshop with this man for 20 long years. I might get a bit emotional here, actually. We used to go home some nights hurting from the laughter that happened in that workshop. We were told to shut up on many occasions because it was upsetting the students through a double-skin brick wall. So you can imagine what was going on there. Story for Steve, he hasn't remembered this one. When we first had computers installed in the media centre, or whatever it's called this week, we had to pick a username. And the way they worked it out was you used the first letter from your Christian name, work it out, and then the first 3 letters from your surname. Which meant...
That's Tony Orr, isn't it?
I'll recap. First letter from your Christian name and the first 3 letters from...
Mark Prince is on the phone.
No, I'm busy. Right. And the first...
Just answer it then.
So, it's me leaving do. I'll ring you back tonight. The first letter from... I'm going to do this if it kills me. I've ruined all comedy out of this now, isn't it? 3 letters from your surname, which mine would have been seen that. Steve Haggerty couldn't use that, they wouldn't let him. Did anybody get that? Can you ring Sue up and tell her to start off? Oh, it's Dave Neal. Oh, that was funny. Oh, mate. On to ex-members of the media centre. We're nearly at the end now. What's the time? Bloody hell. Bob Prince. Bob Prince can't be here today because he wasn't invited earlier. Bob tended to annoy people a little bit, put it nicely, and I had to organise his retirement collection when he left. And it was so tough because people were taking money out of the bucket, trying to put it in. Let's talk about somebody who is here tonight. Gary Staden, ladies and gentlemen. Never a dull moment when Gary's around, and hasn't been today actually. The sides are still aching like they used to in the good old days. The wind-ups and the pranks that used to go on in those days are amazing. So many stories to choose from. What do I leave out? I think Gary and most of the media centre staff know the story I've chosen for you all this afternoon. I'm going to sit down for this because my legs are hurting. Not only that, I broke a nail earlier. If I can get my leg up. Right, Gary sadly suffers from a very serious complaint called industrial flatulence. And we were in the media centre one winter's evening, and we were waiting to go home at 5 to 5. And Gary was there, everybody was there, and Gary announced to us that he had a bit of pressure building. Now, we couldn't shove him out in the cold because it was rainy and snowy, so somebody suggested that there's a door between the office and the viewing room, and somebody suggested that it's gone 5 o'clock, why don't you open the door and let it go in the empty room? Great idea, he thought. So I opened the door. He let go with a barnstormer. It was wonderful to hear it. And then the bloke on the desk, Tony Orr, the git, he said, has Gary done what I think he did? Yeah, you're probably right, Gary. Oh, he said, that's a shame. There's 30 people in there waiting for a film to be started. So imagine it from their point of view. They're set in a nice, warm, dark room, comfortable seats. All of a sudden, the door opens, this shaft of light belts through the darkness, and then that happens. So that's Gary's story. We're nearly at the end now. Oh look, your pages are stuck together again. I think I added something onto this. That's what I'm shaking with emotion. So that's about it really. 23 years of pure enjoyment, apart from a couple of things that went wrong. Like I was the only technical instructor in Borough Ashton not to get a massive pay rise a few years ago. And being constantly taken for a car park attendant in my old office in E Block. Not bad for 23 years. I hear that the main talking part around the campus at the moment is not the latest student survey results or the debate on whether to stop reserved parking spaces for people we've never heard of, but who is going to be the next grumpy old git now that I've left?
Any volunteers?
Oh, some pointing going on. Some pointing going. Thank you ever so much to everybody for all the fun and frolics and being part of this huge, wonderful team. I'm getting quite tearful now, so I'll leave you with a toast. So if you've got some stuff still left in your glasses, I'd like you to raise your glasses. Those of you who've seen the Churchill film know what I'm going to do. Here's to not buggering it up. Thank you, everybody. It's been a breeze.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris. There's a few things that we need to give you. I'm just going to give you that. That's for all of us. A little something to... Oh, hello. Oh, is it? That's
I'm just
you.
going to quietly nick that.
I'm not entirely sure what that sound was when you stuck it in your pocket. Bloody hell. Anyway, there you go, mate. Hope you make good use of that.
It's a CD.
It's just, yeah, right, it's a CD.
I check it's still full actually, Chris, because Dick's been looking after it. It might be slightly light.
You got the other one back.
Yeah. Sorry, you finished yet?
Yeah, yeah.
We've got another little thing. Happy Christmas.
That's a big one.
Yeah, quite. Thank you. Well, here we go. You can open this up. Look. In here is some small gifts from all of us here to say thank you. Is an envelope. You might use that to put things in and post to people.
Oh, I can't bend over.
Right.
Yeah, you can bend over, you just can't get up again.
Yeah. Don't let go. That's
Oh! Who painted that then?
Ask Dina.
ah.
Dina knows.
What is it?
Dina?
Yeah.
She painted that?
No, she knows who did.
Oh.
And there's the next prize, you know. Oh, now this.
And the winner is...
Yeah. Oh. Now this is a little memento from all of us.
It's not ceramic owl, is it?
That'd be a hoot, wouldn't it? See? You trained me well. I don't know if everyone's seen this yet, actually.
I haven't.
No, haven't you? There's a little plaque on it. What's it saying?
No, they don't want to read it out.
I know. I don't know if you can see this from back there, and if you haven't seen this already. We've always said for the last few years that Chris looks like one of the cartoon characters that you see on television. Peter Griffin. Now, if you haven't seen, do Google it. Look up Peter Griffin. You don't involve this through there. So, we have kindly put together, and I thank Mary for this hard work, because she did look into she's put together this lovely little memento from us that you can put on your mantelpiece. Liz, you'll like that, won't you? Yeah? Polish that every day. Stick pins in it when you want to. And it's even got a UE badge on it, so you'll be able to get in and out of the building. All right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, there you-
Yeah, but there's one problem with that.
What's that?
He's a fat git.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's all right, you'll grow into it, mate. That's okay. Yes, that's what you used to be like, wasn't it? So, well done. Oh, we got one more thing in here, I think. Yes, there's a little package in the bottom. Not in your
It's gone
bottom.
very quiet.
Well, wait for it to go off. Oh, there it is. Well, it's timed up, Chris, yes.
My watch
Your watch.
reminded me to breathe.
This is heavy. It's got my name on it. Oh!
There you go.
Bleed now.
Nearly 98 pence in there. That's one from each of us, obviously. We don't mug about. Oh,
Money.
yeah. So we're all going down the pub then?
Thank you for the money.
There was going to be another little video. You saw me fiddling around earlier on with some equipment. Unfortunately, Chris, I'm sorry. I did find there's a video which Gary and I did a voiceover on an old animation video from 1994. Unfortunately, but I talked to Mary about this earlier on. Unfortunately, you know, I got it working on another system. It won't work on this thing here, although it'll play other videos. So I do apologise. We're going to play that as a surprise for you. It's a video that you had nothing to do with it at all. But when we played it to Chris many years ago, Gary and I, back in mid-1990s, he just fell about laughing. It's one of his funniest things he's ever seen. And we found it. Yeah, I can show you the box, but I can't play the bloody tape. It won't come out. We get sound but no picture. Anyway, do you know anybody technical that can sort that out? No. Anybody? No. So I will get that to you as a file.
I'll share it with my friend.
I know, we wanted to, because it is funny. But if I get it going in the next half hour after your bit, then well, we're done now, aren't we? I think that's about it. No, I think, do you want to wind this up?
Yep, all right then.
Is it stripper job, is it?
No, can I just say, Chris, it's been a great 20-odd years, mate, and I hope you enjoy your retirement. I've got his watch. And I thank you for all the laughter and all the fun we've had. I'm going to miss it, seriously. But yeah, another 6 years' time, I'll be saying that shit. Yeah, so we'll have another party in 6 years' time, shall we? Yeah, but thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Christopher Charles Napier.
Right, mingle, say cheerio to him, feed him, drink him, whatever.
Drinking it. Had enough of that. Oh, Lords.
Brilliant. Nice one.
Nice song. No drums on there. I think they want your skills. We didn't even work that.
I've got postman.
Yes.